everyone, you're very welcome to tonight's Education in Ireland presentation. My name is Michelle Durbin and I'm the US Manager of Education in Ireland. This is my colleague Kevin O'Brien.
Hi guys, how's it going?
We both work for an initiative called Education in Ireland, which is an Irish government initiative that promotes Irish universities and colleges all over the world. So our job basically is to help students and help families and high school college counsellors to get all the information that they need if they are deciding they want to apply to study in Ireland. So we hope that you'll find tonight's presentation interesting and engaging, and we hope that we'll have lots of questions from you as we go along. So just to start off, here's a quick look at what we're going to cover in tonight's presentation. The idea is that we give you a flavour of what is available in Ireland and why you might choose to study in Ireland for your full degree, and also give you some of the practical information that you'll need if you do decide to apply to an Irish university. We're going to talk about why Ireland, the application process, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the student experience. So before we go on, just to give you a little bit of information about myself and Kevin, we're based in New York at the moment. You might be able to hear some of the traffic in the background. We look after education in Ireland across the whole United States and run a lot of events and work with student ambassadors and high school college counsellors and students throughout the year. I went to Trinity College myself and graduated in 2006. Kevin, do you want to give a little bit?
Hi, I'm Kevin O'Brien and I'm from Cork in the south of Ireland, and I've been living in New York for the last year working alongside Michelle with Education in Ireland. And prior to that, I just finished my degree in University College Cork, in Cork where I'm from in Ireland, so I've only been out of the college for about a year and living in New York, so everything's been going alright.
Yeah, so Kevin's got some really nice current insights that he's going to share tonight. So without further ado, we'll kick off with the presentation this evening. And so first of all, this is the question that we get most often. So why would I choose to study in Ireland? My personal opinion on this is that Ireland has a really unique blend of the old and the new that makes it a very exciting place to be a student. So on the one hand, you have, I suppose, what is very well known about Ireland, you know, a history of excellence in the arts, all of the famous writers like Joyce and Beckett, Oscar Wilde, and it's a very long list. And we're very well known for our music and theatre. So there are some of the areas that we really excel in, and people generally know about that. I suppose what's less known about Ireland today is that we're a base for a huge number of global leading companies. And we're also really a hotbed of activity for startup companies. And so what does that mean for education? That means that our education system has a huge focus on providing people who are skilled to fuel those economies. So people who are going in to work for tech companies like Google, like Apple, or those who are looking to actually set up their own business. And so there's a big focus on the academic skills and the personal skills that are needed to be successful in those industries too. So that's a little taste, I suppose, of what it's like to be a student in Ireland today. Some other points that are worth considering when you're looking at Ireland, maybe compared to other locations. We are a very friendly and safe country, so we don't just say it. The Lonely Planet has ranked Ireland as one of the friendliest places to visit in the world on several years, and also we're ranked as one of the top 10 safest countries in the world by the Global Peace Index. So I think in particular, for parents who might be thinking about their child going overseas for their full undergraduate degree, I think that element of friendliness and safety, they're things that you really can't underestimate the importance of. Also, we're an English-speaking country, and don't be ashamed if you were wondering that. We get that question all the time, and it's totally fine. People in Ireland do speak English, and we also have our own national language, which is Gaelic. and people learn that in school, but it's not the first language, so it's not the day-to-day language that people are using. You will see it written on signposts and things like that. There will be English, the English kind of word, and then the Irish translation underneath. So that's kind of a nice element of the Irish culture, that we have this language, Gaelic. Other aspects that differentiate an education in Ireland compared to other places, um, we, uh, we are proud of the fact that we have very supportive learning environments, in terms of the level of care, pastoral care, that's available on Irish campuses, and you'll see that as you enter into the application process also. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we have a very innovative and creative culture from both sides, as I mentioned, in terms of the creative arts, and then also in terms of the types of innovations that are coming out of Ireland, with tech and across a whole range of industries, including like financial services, pharmaceuticals. So it's a very interesting economy to be a part of at the moment. So that's just to give you a bit of a feeling for what modern Ireland is like today and what it would be like as a place to study in. And so now moving on, I suppose some of you might be wondering, so which universities are there in Ireland? And so the answer is, in the Republic of Ireland, there are 7 universities, and you can see them listed here on the map. 3 of the universities are located in the city of Dublin. That is Trinity College Dublin, University College Dublin, Dublin City University, and just outside Dublin we have National University of Ireland Maynooth, which is Ireland's only university town. It's a beautiful town. And then going directly to the west, we have National University of Ireland Galway. Going further south, we have University of Limerick, and then further south again, we've got University College Cork. So just in case you're not too familiar with the geography of Ireland, to give you a sense of the scale, you can drive from Dublin to Galway in less than 3 hours now. So that kind of gives you a feeling for how big the country is, and maybe how easy it is to explore also. So Kevin is going to talk to you a little bit about each of those cities and which one might be a fit for you. I suppose you can decide that yourself.
Okay, guys. So I'll start off with Dublin. So Dublin, as you probably know, if you're looking at Ireland, is Ireland's capital city. It's got the biggest population, and it's a real like metropolis of Ireland. So it is the biggest city in Ireland. It's comparable to maybe the 4th or 5th biggest city in the US. It's a UNESCO City of Literature with many landmarks, like the credit to James Joyce and other famous literature that lived in Dublin. It's also got quite a vibrant nightlife, lots of bars and pubs, and also it's a very, very youthful city. So I think 44% of the population is under the age of 25, and that also kind of ties in a lot to a lot of the big US multinational companies coming in, the Facebooks and the Google, with a very young techie scene. And it's also got a huge music scene with lots of live Irish music going on everywhere in Dublin, especially in Temple Bar, which is a real like hotbed for culture, and where Irish and Americans seem to meet and get on quite well. So then moving forward, we've got Cork, which is my hometown, which is a great city. It's Ireland's second largest city, and it's been voted in Lonely Planet votes as like a hotbed of culture and one of Ireland's coolest cities, and there's always something going on in Cork. It's got a lot of festivals. It's also got a very, very young population and a very student focused town. And within the county of Cork, so it would be like say the state comparable in Ireland. We have counties which are comparable to states. It's there's got a lot of like if you go west, there's a lot of seaside and a lot of scenery, and it's also quite a scenic place. If you ever want to leave at the weekend, it's maybe a 30-minute drive anywhere you want to go. So moving on, we've got Limerick, which as you can see is Ireland's 3rd largest city. It's got a very Viking settlement, and there's a real feel of kind of old Nordic architecture and stuff like that around the city of Limerick. As you can see, it's the home of Irish rugby, and also I call Limerick, in terms of university destination, the home of surfing, because Limerick is probably the closest city to Ireland's west coast, which is it has been all over any surf magazine or anything like that as like a hotbed destination for huge waves. And it's so, as you can imagine, the types of people that like to study in Limerick are very active. They like to go for trips, hiking and surfing and windsurfing and stuff like that on the weekend. So that would be like a really, really good thing about Limerick. And then you have Galway, which is just north of Limerick. So that's definitely it's like the hotbed of Irish culture, where you can be walking down the street and someone might be speaking Irish to each other, or you might hear them speaking a mix of Irish and English. Every night there's Céilís, and there's people playing the fiddle and people just jamming, and it's really, really, really the real Ireland. But it's also quite a big city, and it's a really university town as well. I think when college is in session, there's 1/5 of the city's population is students. So that will kind of give you a flavour of what Galway is like. And then moving on, we have Maynooth, which, as Michelle mentioned, is Ireland's only university town. It's based on maybe 20-minute train ride just outside of Dublin. It's an amazing town. It's based around this old monastery, which is also part of the Maynooth campus, and it's got a really nice community vibe. But it's also, as I say, it's only 20 minutes outside of the city of Dublin, so you're never too far from the hustle and bustle of the big city. So I think that's all I have to say on the Maynooth of the Irish town. So pass it back over to Michelle.
Yeah, so now we're going to talk a little bit about academic programs. So essentially, maybe now you know that you want to study in Ireland, and so really it's about trying to find a program and university that is a good fit for you. So in terms of what is available, I mean, basically any program that you might be interested in studying, you can be pretty sure that it's available in Ireland at an Irish university. Um, each of the universities has, different academic disciplines that they're particularly well known for. Um, One of the questions that we get from students very frequently is, if I go to college in Ireland, do I need to know my major when I apply? And the answer is not exactly. So there are some programs in Ireland, some degree programs that are very specific from the beginning. For example, maybe psychology, or certain programs you can specialize very early on, but you don't necessarily have to do that. We also have a very wide range of programs where you can become more specialised and essentially choose a major in your junior year in that program. So, for example, you could choose to study in the liberal arts. So you would go in and you could study, maybe 3 different subjects in your first and second year, and then specialise after that. Or you could do a broad program in the sciences and explore different sciences, and then specialise or choose a major later on. So that's just something that I think is important to highlight, because we do get questions about that very often. In terms of finding a program that you're really interested in, the best place to start is the Program Finder tool on the Education in Ireland website. So you can see the link there on the slide. Essentially, the tool is really excellent because it allows you to type in what you're interested in studying. So let's say it's law, for example, or geography, or agriculture, whatever it might be. If you type that in, you can then choose whether, which city you might like to study in, or even you can specify which university, and you'll get a list of all of the relevant programs that are available and links to further information about them. So that's a great way to narrow down the options that are available to you. And generally, bachelor degrees are 4 years in Ireland. There are some 3-year programs available also, but generally they are 4 years. Very often there is the option to do a semester or a year abroad, or a work placement as part of a degree program in Ireland. So some of you might be familiar with the Erasmus exchange program. So Erasmus is a very, very big exchange program that takes place in the European Union, and it basically allows students who are studying in the EU to go and spend a semester or a year at another European university for no additional cost. So often when we have American students who come to study in Ireland, sometimes they do study abroad while studying abroad. So they will come to Ireland, and then in their junior year they might spend a semester or a year studying in Florence or Rome or Madrid, or wherever it might be in Europe. So that's just something interesting to know. Also, A lot of our undergraduate programs include a work placement for credit. So if you feel that's something that you would like to do as part of your degree program, that's something else to take into consideration when you're finding a program that's the right fit for you. And then in terms of the depth of knowledge and opportunity to specialise, that's what I was speaking about a little earlier, where you can specialise from the beginning, but you also have the option to take a more broad-based programme in a particular school, so the School of Humanities or Sciences or Engineering, etc. So moving on from that then, let's talk a little bit more specifically about the application process. So again, the Education in Ireland website is a great place to start because it brings together information from all of the universities and colleges in Ireland. The way the application process works is very similar to the way it works in the United States. So essentially, you make your application directly to the university that you want to apply to and for the program that you want to apply to. So you may want to apply to 3 Irish universities, so you'll submit an application to each of those directly. You don't need to do anything additional to apply to study in Ireland. And by that, I mean that we accept SATs, ACTs, and actually also the International Baccalaureate, if any of you are taking the International Baccalaureate. And so generally in the admissions office they will look at your GPA and then the standardised tests. And generally they will have a minimum GPA for a particular programme. So you can find out the specifics about that from the admissions department at the university you're applying to. Something that's interesting is that the application deadlines in Ireland are later than in the United States. So generally applications will open around the 1st of November each year, but they stay open until around the end of March, with many having late applications until July. So we really encourage students to apply early because applications are on a rolling basis. So if you apply in November, you'll hear back generally within 4 to 6 weeks. As the year goes on, the places are being filled, offers are being issued, so it really makes sense if you know you want to apply to study in Ireland to do that nice and early in the application cycle. There is no visa required for American students to come and study in Ireland, which is nice. That cuts down on the amount of paperwork, I guess, that you need to do. And also, the only thing that you do need to do is register once per year with the Garda Immigration Bureau, and that process is going to be explained during the orientation kind of sessions for the university. So they will explain that to you, but it's not a very arduous process. One thing that we really, really encourage students and parents to do is to try and visit campus. I really believe that it's very important, whether you're studying in the US or studying in Ireland or in another country, that you find the right fit for you. And actually going and walking around and seeing the facilities, and meeting current students or faculty, it's a great way to do that. Sometimes we hear that students or families have gone on vacation to Ireland and just gone and looked around campus themselves. It's probably better to arrange a tour with the international office, because if you do that, it means that you're going to actually get inside buildings so that you can see what they're like. If you come as a tourist, I mean, you're not really going to be able to access a whole lot. So definitely try and do that if that's possible for you. Then moving on, something that obviously is very important is tuition and financial aid. So understandably, families are going to be concerned about how much does it cost. So in general terms, you would need to budget for about $32,000 US dollars per year, with everything included. So that would include tuition if it was like, say, liberal arts program tuition level, housing for the year, living expenses and with transportation and food, 2 flights over and back to the United States, and health insurance. The health insurance in Ireland for students costs about €150 per year, so less than $200 per year, and it's a requirement that all students have health insurance. Um, some families choose to extend American insurance so that it has international coverage. That's also an option, and that's something that the international office can talk to you about again in the pre-orientation. So that kind of covers the cost, and then a really, really important thing to remember is that all of the universities in Ireland are approved to administer US federal aid loans. So when you're filling out your FAFSA form, you can send that form to an Irish university in the same way that it would apply to a US university. So that's just something to bear in mind. That's the federal loans. And then in terms of financial aid, institutional financial aid, there are some scholarships available at the various universities. One way to explore those is to check out our website again. We have a page dedicated to scholarships on our website, educationinireland.com. And I also advise also that, you would talk to the international office about any scholarships that might be available, because sometimes they can change or evolve year on year. So that's just some advice on that. And then talking about the cost of living in Ireland, I mean, generally I think we could say that the cost of living in Ireland is more or less comparable with living in a big city in the US. The cost of living has definitely fallen significantly since 2008. You can see there that Ireland, or Dublin, is ranked 72nd in Mercer's Global Cost of Living survey, and that's out of, I think, about 200 cities. So I think, as I say, it's comparable with a large city in the US, like maybe Chicago, Boston. But one thing that is a little different about the cost of living in Ireland is that student discounts are very, very common. They're offered by clothing stores and coffee shops and transportation companies, tourist companies, and there's a lot of different options with student discounts, and so that can definitely help and make it very affordable to be a student in Ireland. Also, students who are enrolled in full-time programs can work for up to 20 hours per week during term time, and can work full-time during the summer months when classes are not in session. And students often will choose to, work on campus or work off campus. So, that's something that if you are interested in working during the academic year, you need to decide that nice and early, because obviously, once students all arrive, everybody is looking for jobs, so it's good to plan ahead for that, and it's definitely something that's very possible. After graduation, students are allowed to stay on, have a visa for another year to find a job if they want to in Ireland, or also if they're interested, they can start their own business. We have lots of incubation centres that support small businesses, startup businesses on the Irish university campuses, and also in the major cities as well. There's a lot of support for startups. So Kevin is going to talk to you a bit now about housing and student support.
Okay, so I suppose I'm going straight into talk about housing. So this will be one thing that you'll find that is different about being on an Irish campus than being on a US campus. So US students, when they go to Ireland, they usually will move into an on-campus, they're always guaranteed to move into an on-campus apartment, and these apartments are generally shared apartments with a shared kitchen and a shared bathroom. Some cases you might have an ensuite, but you will always have your own room, and these rooms can range from single beds to double beds, and as I say, some can have ensuites, others will have shared bathrooms, and these could be one shared bathroom between 3 people, or generally if the apartment has 6 people, you'd have 2 shared bathrooms and 1 shared kitchen and dining space. As I say, in your first year, you'll always be guaranteed on campus. You'll always be guaranteed on campus housing for any US students coming over, and this is always generally within a 5 minute or less walk from the campus housing onto campus, so that you're always close. You're always close to the library or to the sports facilities or anything like that. And all the as it says there, like all the Irish universities, we have the dedicated international offices that are always on hand to provide support. And when you're living on campus, you're never a million miles away from these guys, and they all live close by. So like you'll never have no one to not call on. So you should be fine. And just moving on to talk about so I suppose the student experience in Ireland. So this is coming from someone that's only out of an Irish university, maybe about a year and a half. So I graduated in 2012, and I suppose I'll talk a lot about like my experience in Irish university and what I thought was really stands out about an Irish university. And the one thing is society clubs and societies in Irish universities are huge. They are the heart and soul of the university, and it's not like the clubs and societies in US universities where some are by invitation and it seems like a very exclusive thing, and then the clubs outside of that remit are seen as maybe a bit geeky or nerdy. In Ireland, like the clubs and societies, I'd say, are the heart of the campus. Like the more clubs and societies you get involved in, the cooler people you meet, the more different people you meet, and like it's just like a huge part of studying in Ireland. Like for instance, I was involved in three societies when I was in university, and my biggest regret is like not joining another three, basically, because you just meet so many different people, and it's just very fun. It's just a very fun thing to do, and it's very inclusive. Um, another thing about the student experience, and especially for US students, is you're on the doorstep of Europe when you come to Ireland. You're basically on the doorstep of Europe, and I don't know if you've ever heard of Ryanair, but it's the original low cost airline, and you can fly. I know guys like you can get $30 to $40 return flights to Rome, so you can go to Rome for a weekend. I'll give you an example. I knew an American student when I was in my third year of study, and I think he went to 9 or maybe 10 different countries for the year that he was in University College Cork, and he's seen more of Europe than I have, and I'm from there the last 22 years of my life. And that's the travel opportunities, as I say, are amazing. And also, you get to travel around Ireland while you're here, and Ireland's a beautiful country. It's great to check out all the different places while you're here. And as Michelle mentioned earlier, it's like the funny thing about Ireland, everything is a 2 hour drive. You could be anywhere in Ireland and get somewhere else in 2 hours. It's brilliant. So and then another thing, kind of more on the studious kind of career progression side, is there's a big focus in Irish universities on work experience as part of your degree. So maybe you might go for 3 months or 6 months as part of your degree during the college year, and get some professional hands-on experience in whatever field you might be in. So and like that's something that really I find worked quite well for me. So in my third year, I did 6 months up in Dublin in a professional services firm. And as I say, I came straight from college into this job, and I know that's something, if I did not have that on my resume, or if I didn't have that kind of 6 months experience of knowing how things work in a professional environment, I wouldn't have stood to me as well in an interview, and I mightn't be sitting here in front of you today. So I'll pass it back on over to Michelle, and she can tell you a bit more about just like a Dublin,
Yeah,
Dublin and the kind of thing.
yeah. Um, so I think that was a really nice summary of life on campus, and what's available and how to get involved in student societies and groups. And then I suppose the next step then afterwards is the career outcomes for the student. And obviously we can't kind of emphasize enough that Irish qualifications are recognised internationally. So a lot of the students from the US and from other countries that come to study in Ireland subsequently move back home and pursue careers in their home country, or in another country for that matter. What I would say is, in terms of the benefit of having an international qualification, be it an Irish qualification or from another place, where that I think, to me, where that's most useful is for students who are interested in having an international perspective to their career. If you're interested in working in international business or international affairs and politics, or one of those spheres. I mean, so many industries now are globalized, and so it's very likely that you're going to have some kind of international aspect to your job. But being able to show that you chose to go overseas for 3 or 4 years to do a full degree, and you were able to get yourself set up and integrate, that really shows, I think, a lot of independent thinking and maturity. And I think it's a real differentiator in terms of the workplace after graduation. As I mentioned earlier, the Irish education system is very well recognised in terms of the emphasis that it puts on employability of its graduates, and that's cited constantly as one of the reasons why international companies choose Ireland other than other locations. Um, so there's a huge variety of opportunities that come from studying abroad in Ireland, and we really hope that if you choose to come and study with us, that you'll pursue all of those opportunities and really use your overseas degree as a differentiator in the workplace subsequently after graduation. Um, and so really, if you're watching our presentation this evening and thinking, oh, this sounds really interesting. I'm the type of student that, is interested in international things. If Ireland looks great, where do I go now? How do I find out more information? So one of the best things to do, I think, is to go onto our blog. So you'll be able to email and interact with students who are international students who are currently studying on Irish campuses. Some of them are from the US. I think this year we're going to have 40 student ambassadors who are from 7 countries, and the US is one of those. And they post videos and blogs and articles about their time in Ireland, everything from their favourite coffee shop to how they spend Thanksgiving to things that they find funny or strange or interesting when they arrive in Ireland. So it's really good reading, and I think it's a good way to put yourself in the position of a student who's actually living the experience that you're considering. So that's the website address for the blog, and you can access it through our main website. And then we have lots of other resources. So we've got a Facebook page, Education in Ireland USA, where we post our event details and other updates from Irish universities. You can email us at eduireland@enterpriseireland.com. It's there, enterprise-ireland.com. And then, use the website. It's a great resource. Also, College Week Live, today's event with College Week Live is a great opportunity to gather a lot of information, at one time. So all of the 7 Irish universities have booths at the Study in Ireland Day today. So make sure that you avail of that information. And all of the video presentations are going to be available online, I think for a certain period of time after the event also, so you can log on if you want to see Limerick's presentation or Galway's presentation, you want to go back and have a look at those. So that's it, I think. We have a couple of questions that have come in. We have one question here about studying medicine in Ireland. It's very, the process for studying medicine in Ireland is very streamlined. So all of the applications go through an agency called Atlantic Bridge, and they have a great website with information about how to apply. So that's atlanticbridge.com. If you've got any other questions about medicine or other programs in Ireland, please feel free to email us at the address here. And enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okay, best of luck.
Bye.